A story of betrayal and consequences. It was a quiet afternoon, one that seemed like any other. The sun was streaming through the bedroom window, casting a soft golden light over everything. The scent of fresh flowers lingered in the air, and the silence was soothing, almost too perfect. My heart, however, was anything but calm. I knew today would be different. My world would change in an instant. Little did I know that the storm brewing in my heart would soon become a whirlwind that would take me to places I never imagined. It had all started months ago when I met him. Jason wasn't like anyone I had ever known. From the very first moment we locked eyes, there was something magnetic between us, a pull I couldn't explain. Despite the fact that I was married, I couldn't resist the chemistry we shared. My husband, Michael, was kind, loving, and attentive, but something was missing. The excitement had faded, and the spark between us had long since dimmed. Jason, however, was different. He made me feel alive again, something I hadn't experienced in years. Our secret meetings started innocently enough at first. It was just talking over coffee, then dinner. But one night, when the electricity between us reached a breaking point, things changed. It wasn't just the physical attraction. It was the way Jason made me feel seen, desired, and wanted in a way that Michael, for all his love, hadn't in a long time. It didn't take long before we found ourselves alone in my bedroom. At first, the thrill of the secret kept me going. I'd go through the motions of my daily life with Michael, all the while sneaking around, meeting Jason whenever I could. It was thrilling yet terrifying, because I knew I was walking on a razor's edge. It wasn't just the guilt of betraying my husband that weighed on me, it was the fear of getting caught. But for weeks, we managed to keep everything hidden until that fateful day. I remember the moment clearly, as if it happened in slow motion. I had just sent Michael off to work and texted Jason to come over. He was already on his way when I heard the front door slam shut. My heart raced as I looked at Jason, who was already standing beside the bed, trying to calm himself. I didn't even need to ask him what had happened. I knew my husband was home early. Panic flooded my veins. Michael had never come home early from work, and I wasn't prepared for the truth to come out. I rushed to push Jason into the closet and quickly closed the door behind him, praying that Michael wouldn't notice anything off. When Michael entered the room, he looked at me with confusion, his eyebrows furrowed. "Why are you acting so strange?" he asked. I forced a smile, trying to hide the panic I felt inside. "What do you mean?" I replied, my voice shaking a little more than I intended. Michael just stared at me for a moment before shrugging and heading to the bathroom. The tension in the room was unbearable. I stood still, listening to every sound in the house, praying that Michael wouldn't find out what I was hiding. But then something happened that I never expected. My phone buzzed in my pocket. It was a message from Jason. "I'm sorry. I have to leave." "He's coming." My heart sank. Jason had left. I stood frozen for a moment, unsure of what to do. Michael had just come out of the bathroom, and I could feel the air in the room thick with the weight of unspoken words. The silence was deafening. Michael seemed distracted, but I could see the flicker of suspicion in his eyes. He looked at me, then at the closet door. I tried to act normal, but inside, I was panicking. Michael walked over to the closet, his footsteps slow and deliberate. My heart raced as he reached for the handle. "What's in there?" he asked, his voice low but firm. My breath caught in my throat, and I knew it was only a matter of seconds before everything unraveled. As the door creaked open, there he was, Jason, caught in the act, standing there in the closet, looking utterly helpless. The shock on Michael's face was undeniable. He didn't speak at first. He just stood there, his eyes flicking between Jason and me. "Michael, I started, but the words caught in my throat. He raised a hand to stop me. "Don't," he said quietly. "I can't believe this. I trusted you. I loved you." His voice cracked slightly, and I could see the pain in his eyes. My heart shattered, but I knew there was no way to undo what had already been done. Jason stepped out of the closet, looking at the floor, his face flushed with embarrassment. "I'm sorry, man," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Michael shook his head, stepping back from us. "No, you're not. None of this is okay." He turned away, walking toward the door. For a moment, I thought he might leave. I thought this would be the end of everything. But then he stopped at the door and turned to face me one last time. "You've made your choice," he said, his voice filled with a mixture of hurt and anger. "I just didn't think it would be like this." And with that, he left. What followed was a whirlwind of emotions, guilt, regret, and the overwhelming weight of knowing that I had lost everything. But there was no turning back now. I had chosen this path and had to live with the consequences. Jason and I tried to talk, tried to figure out what was next, but the damage had already been done. Michael was gone, and no matter how much I wanted to fix it, I knew it was too late. I didn't expect it to be easy. I didn't expect the pain and the heartbreak. But as I sat in my empty house, I realized something. I had chased after a fleeting moment of passion, thinking it would fill the void. But in the end, it had only created more emptiness. As for Michael, I didn't know what would happen next. Maybe he would come back, maybe he wouldn't. But I knew one thing for sure. The life I had known was gone, and a new chapter was beginning, whether I was ready for it or not. Days passed, and I couldn't escape the feeling of emptiness that settled inside me. Michael was gone, and my life had been thrown into disarray. The weight of my actions pressed heavily on me, and the loneliness felt suffocating. I never expected things to spiral out of control the way they had. I thought I could have both my stable life with Michael and the thrill of the passion I found with Jason. But in the end, I realized how naive I was. At first, Jason tried to be there for me. He sent messages, checked in, even called to see how I was doing. But as the days wore on, I noticed a shift in him. The urgency and excitement that had once filled our secret meetings seemed to fade into awkward silence. It was as if he had realized the gravity of the situation as well. This wasn't just a fling anymore. This was real, and it had consequences. One evening, after not hearing from him for several days, I decided to reach out. I sent him a simple message. "Can we talk?" His reply was quick. "I'm on my way." When Jason arrived, I could tell something was different. He looked tired, distracted, and a little distant. As he sat across from me on the couch, I could feel the tension between us. It wasn't like before, the playful banter, the teasing glances, all of it seemed gone. "Jason, what's going on?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He ran a hand through his hair, avoiding my gaze. "I don't know," he admitted. "I thought I wanted this. I thought I could handle it. But seeing you with him, seeing you lose everything, it made me realize that I don't want to be the one to fix this. It's not my place." His words stung more than I expected. I had always known this wasn't sustainable, but hearing him admit it out loud made it feel even more final. "I get it," I said, my voice trembling as I tried to hold back the tears. "I made a choice, and now I have to live with it. But I don't know how to fix it, Jason. I don't even know where to start." Jason sighed deeply. "Maybe some things just can't be fixed," he said softly. "Maybe the damage is too much to undo." Just like that, the moment I had clung to, the hope that maybe we could somehow overcome the mess I'd created, slipped through my fingers. I watched as he stood up, his shoulders heavy with the burden of this complicated situation. "I care about you," he added, his voice thick with emotion. "But I don't think I can do this anymore." Jason didn't wait for me to respond. He turned and walked out, leaving me alone once again. My chest felt hollow, as though everything I had tried to build had crumbled. I had lost my husband, my lover, and any hope I had of returning to the life I once knew. For the next few weeks, I struggled with the aftermath. I tried to reach out to Michael to apologize, but he was distant, closed off. No amount of pleading seemed to change his mind. He had made it clear that he couldn't forgive me, not now, not after everything that had happened. It hurt more than I thought it would, but deep down, I knew he was right. I had betrayed his trust in the most unforgivable way. I spent my days trying to put the pieces of my life back together, but it felt impossible. I missed the comfort of Michael's presence, the quiet moments we used to share. But even more, I missed the person I used to be, the woman who was content with the life she had before all the lies and secrets tore it apart. One night, after a particularly lonely evening, I found myself sitting on the couch, scrolling through old photos on my phone. I came across one of Michael and me, taken just a few months ago on a vacation. We were smiling, happy, and in love. My heart ached at the sight of it. I couldn't help but wonder if there was a chance to fix things, to rebuild what we had lost. But the reality was that I had broken something beyond repair. No matter how much I wanted to, I couldn't go back to the way things were. I had shattered that trust, and there was no mending it. And then there was Jason. It had been weeks since we had spoken. Every message I sent went unanswered, and I began to wonder if I had made the right choice in even reaching out to him. He had been a part of my life, but he had also been the catalyst for so much of the destruction that followed. His absence left a void, but it also made me realize something. I needed to face the consequences of my actions on my own. The days turned into weeks, and slowly I began to rebuild, if only just for myself. I found solace in the small things, the quiet moments that had once felt insignificant, but now brought a sense of peace. I started going to therapy, trying to understand the reasons behind my actions and what had led me to this point. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. As for Michael, I wasn't sure if he would ever come back, but a part of me hoped that someday he would find it in his heart to forgive me. Maybe we could rebuild, or maybe we couldn't. Either way, I had learned the hard way that sometimes life doesn't give you second chances. But even though everything had changed, I knew one thing for sure. I would never forget the lessons I had learned from this. The cost of betrayal was far higher than I had ever imagined, and I would carry that weight with me for the rest of my life. If you want to see what happens next in this unpredictable journey, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel, Lust Stories. I'll be sharing more of my story as it unfolds, through the heartbreak, the healing, and the lessons I'm still learning. Thank you for joining me on this journey.